Hi, and welcome to a new Plug and Groove video. My name is John Skippy Limcool. Hands together, head bowed. This is a support bonus video I want to do, showing you the demo songs that were written for Northern Impakt, the new sample sound design library we just released. Really cool library, 600 plus patches, multis, 331, actually 346. At the last minute, I snuck in some bonus run part 8, which isn't used. At the very end of the list, the Z or the core samples without programming so that you can program from them. At the very end beyond them is ZZ of Athena. Paper towel machine I found at a coffee shop. Some ice. So these are like the samples before we did this to them. That's ice. Right? So those bonus samples, those bonus samples are included in the library. Pretty cool. So the purpose of this is to show you a couple demos. There's 3 of them I hope to show you. One of them Bob Dedes did in Greece. One of them Henrik started in Denmark, and then I finalized with additional sounds and programming and drum programming and stuff like that. And then one that I did completely from scratch for myself. So I'm going to show you all of those. I'm going to play them, and then we're going to dissect them. So hopefully this helps you a little bit in seeing how you can use these sounds, how they work together, stuff like that. So let me play the demo first. This is Falcon Quest. We just had Heavy Falcon take off with Roadster into space, and so this is dedicated for this moment in time, which is pretty historic. So virtually everything you're hearing except for a drum track is sounds from this library. It's pretty awesome. If we take out the drum track, just so you know, let's take out. Here is Super Macho Drums by itself, so you hear what it was adding to the library, to the groove. Let's go from. And which kit is this? Ah, the Super Pop. I like this kit. Well, I made the kit. So and there's a part later on here where changes snares, change the mix a little with the production. Okay, so that's what the drums were adding to the groove. Let's take this all off and then mute the drums. Here's what it sounds like without them at measure 12. So it was nice, but I needed more solid groove. Okay, the audio tracks that were sent to me from Henrik, he sent me a WAV file and then separate stems of each thing. So I took it, I changed the order around a little bit. I deleted one section. If we were to hear it here, so if I was to play this from here, oh, one second, because there's something interesting here. I have on the drum track Gatekeeper, which if we listen to this, that by itself, without Gatekeeper, it's just playing the whole time. But I wanted to have it so when it started the groove part of the song with the melody, I made this groove. And it's as easy as going, I want to draw. You could choose what shape you want. And I wanted to say like 64th notes, and then you just draw. And you're making the groove. And you can change the shape of it. You could say, okay, now I need to go down to 8th notes. And I want something here, like maybe break this like that. Then go back to this so I could change the curvature. That's not curvature, but it's giving me a breakpoint. So I used that to take it, and as you can see, when the song starts, it's off. Right? Add a couple other parts. And right here, it gets doing the busy groove stuff. So for some reason, those parts aren't playing. So you can see, okay. So he had the basic shape of the song, but didn't have enough low end. I need a bass. And here's Gatekeeper coming in. So I added Get Them Out Now. And one cool thing with this sound is you'll hear this really cool ear candy thing where that's just me moving the mod wheel up and down, and then the delays in the bus pick it up and keep echoing those out. So if we were to have, let's see how I can do this. If I go like this to select these guys and the bass, hello, solo that. Okay. And that got me a lot closer, but the one thing missing was there was no melody. There was nothing to like give me some anthemic theme of some sort, something. So Factorial 5 is a really nice patch. It's the strings from Omnisphere, but there's this like ear candy stuff in there. And I have the mod wheel set for volume. So you can be expressive with it. So when we added that, there's a little solid bass thing that I had to grow with octaves. Just a single note. The sound is so big, you don't want to play big chords and stuff with it, with everything else that's going on. Octaves. So right there, it sounds huge, but it's only 2 notes. I'm playing a really wide stretch. There are 2 important notes of that chord, but I'm not playing... I could have added lots of notes to it, right? But that would have made it really thick and muddy. So part of the trick to placement in production is you can fill in the song really nicely without adding a whole lot to it by just the right notes. And fewer notes, the better, always. Unless you really have thought your arrangement out, you don't want to be playing too many notes. And that's one thing I hear all the time in demos is there's big... That's going on in the middle of the song, and it's just too much. So you'd want to just say, you just take like the top notes, and you'd be a lot better off. And then I needed also just something else to like reinforce those strings. So that's where Blade Gunner comes from. This is a patch which and one nice thing with this is I designed it so that with the mod wheel. Let's see here. It's on this omnisphere. By the way, this is just one omnisphere playing all 7 sounds of this track. I just kept building and adding to it. So Blade Gunner is right here. And a couple of tricks here that are really cool to point out. There's 2 different choruses which are set up so that if you go show modulation, modulation on the wheel, it gets really nicely, thickly chorused out while the filter is being brought up a little bit. If we see it here, right? But I only have a little bit of time that this mod wheel will work for that because as you can see, the envelope is maxed out on the filter doing a nice slow. And when it gets up to there, there's a little bit more to play with, but I had to have another sound with it, which was this sound here. And to get it to be brighter, I think I used EQ. And I have EQ bringing up the EQ on the mod wheel to give me more gas on the... I wanted even more when the mod wheel goes up, so I'm boosting EQ, if that makes sense. So all of that goes to... Let's hear the strings and the Blade Gunner together. Oh, wait. So there's the melody. I'm just going to play these 2 parts for a minute so you can hear this. And this is a little counter melody I designed. Just to sit there and really emphasize now he goes up. So those 2 parts really work nice together to create the melody of the song. And so everything else is kind of support. There's a pluck sound that comes in, which is just actually echoing the strings. So if we solo these 2 parts, if I select what's here and play. I just want a little rhythmic motion, so it's not just sitting there. So you almost don't notice it in the mix. You don't even really notice this bell part doing the motion stuff, but it's there. helping keep energy in it, you know? So these other three parts that are here are sweeps that are used to go into sections of the track. So that, if we just solo it by itself, that's right here, White Flames, solo. Right? So when you hear that in the track, it builds up and then all of a sudden, poof, it lets go for the demo to take off. There's another sweep. Let's listen to this one, solo. This is the Undead, I believe. So how did that work in the track? Let's unsolo and play it. It starts here. You don't hear it yet. It starts to build energy. And right there, other energy takes off. So that's what the sweep types of sound effects are for. And here's one that's really long. It's 8 measures long. So if we play this from here, let's solo it first. I wish we could speed up time, but you're just going to have to listen for a second so you hear what to listen for. Barely hear it, right? Keeps getting more and more and more. And then it's out. So let's listen to it in the context of the whole demo. So it's growing through all of this. Give a little undercurrent of something going on, but here, check it out. Don't worry. And then it's out for the next section. Okay. So that was basically what I added for this one. So I'm going to pause and we're going to load up another song to show you another demo. Okay. So hang on. Okay, first up, I'm going to show you the Bob Didi's track called The Gate. And I'm going to show you, he sent me screen captures, I believe from Cubase, of the track. So he turned everything into audio as he works so he doesn't deal with the CPU issues that he's committed it to tracks. So he must have written it and then bounced it down. I don't know how he works. It's really interesting because I need everything to still be liquid because I'm changing my ideas all the time. But I'll pop this over here so you can see some of it while we're playing it. So here it is. So there's a lot going on. You notice there's lots of sweeps throughout. I mean, the sweeps and those types of things are so important to music because those give you the subtle push into what's coming next. So they're very helpful that way. Next up, I'm going to show you a track that I did. This is called the Ice Storm. I wasn't sure what else to call it. I'm going to keep the tempo open here. You'll notice there's a huge tempo drop here, and I'll explain about that in a minute. I have to have everything bounced for this to play, and then I'll unbounce it so I can play the parts. But here is the ice storm. Here's the big tempo change. I wanted to hold this out longer. Compared to the original idea I had. So, and it fades out. You can hear the whole demo on SoundCloud at the Plugin Guru SoundCloud channel. So let me pull this apart a little bit. First off, there's two sounds coming from something other than the Northern Impakt. There's a string part. Actually, there's three parts. Here, let's unfreeze everything. So if you just turn off like that, and if you're curious what freeze means, this is a really cool feature that a lot of sequencers have this, where it's not doing what I think it's supposed to be. No, I want it off. So when I hit play, it's trying to refreeze it. There we go. Freeze goes through and it does a process that you have to wait. It records it at a 32-bit audio level, which is really, really high as far as the audio quality, and then it will play it back internally instead of the plugin. So it's basically making an audio track so that it can mute the plugin, and that's much more efficient to play. An audio file is much easier by far compared to playing the plugins. So by turning on, even just by turning it on to one of these, that will make it go through and freeze all 8 tracks of this one Omnisphere. So if I hit play, and I can hit a command and period to stop it. But now those tracks are frozen for that part. So when I hit play, my computer's just chilling like there's nothing going on. And if I turn this off and I hit play, once things start to happen, you'll see it will bump up a little bit more. And see how these are going out higher. And then in a minute, audio starts to crackle. So it just saves computer power. Now, the 2 parts, there's actually 3 parts. There's Mega Magic Cello. Which is just used to double a melody line. Now from Contact 5, I have 2 sounds. I have a string part one of the libraries that comes with Contact, let's see here, let's expand this so we can see everything. Go like this and like this. Here's the action strings. This is a library that is really cool. It allows you to, and you can go in and change to different things, but it gives you rhythmic. If I choose here, here's just a single hit. So at the very beginning, I needed a little bit more of like a real rosiny string thing happening to just give it a little bit more visceral realness. So that happens. Let's see, let's go like this. Why aren't you playing? You should be playing. So it's doubling. See, without it, the string pad is like right? But no. Just gives you that energy. And then pitch bend takes over and all sorts of weird stuff happens. The other thing was drums of war. When it gets into the time changes and the whole like right in here. Okay, so the drums, that's it. So all the low stuff, the really impressive stuff is actually Omnisphere, but having that added to it just gives it even more realism. So if we were to go through the drum parts in there, and the important and cool thing here is that there's this tempo change happening to this, while at the same time it's following along. These are BPM. As I'm changing tempo, oh, it won't let me do it, but it follows right along, tightly in sync. So between those guys, this and the drums of war, let's solo those guys so we can hear what they're doing right here. There's without him. So it just adds that little bit more drum element to it. Now you can hear him, right? Okay, so other stuff that's happening in here that's really cool. There's a BPM fall and a BPM sweep leading into this. This sweep is really cool because it's pitched. So you can play whatever chord you want. And this is the 16-part plant pad. It says pad in the name. So you know that you can play a chord. So that happens like this. One. So that sweep is happening, and then right after that we go into this huge fall. And then we have the undead. And then another sweep, really low in pitch. So listen to those guys. This is a high one. Here comes the undead. And you barely hear, but there's just that energy that just gives you like, oh, more impending doom is happening. BPM synth excitation takes off. This is a really great patch. Really nice. So that's happening at the same time. Mega Battle Call, this bass sound. Okay, so this sound, the module is set up so it's like this super deep, dark drone when the module is all the way up, right? So this is playing some really cool tension building stuff throughout the whole track in here, starting here. It's really bright here. It gets darker, and now it just becomes a drone sitting underneath the synth part. Now it goes up and it moves and follows the bass chord progression. It gets a little brighter. So it's helping with the building of the energy. Right? So it's very useful for that type of thing. On top of that, there's... So this is World Destroyer. And then We Signed the Treaty. All three of these come in at the end to save the day. So if we had these guys playing, so we can just hear these from... Here comes this sweep right here. And then these guys take over with a nice ending. Right? It's got a girl little at the end, all that kind of stuff. So, that's the gist of this one. That's 3 demos for 1 library that show the flexibility. Hope that there is some tips and tricks that I shared throughout this that are useful to you. Buy the library if you want to do stuff like this and study patches like this. And again, all these sweeps and stuff that we're talking about and using, you can load this up and then change it to any of 331 different sounds in this library or any of the other libraries or the libraries of samples that come within Omnisphere. So it's very flexible to work with. So, all right, enjoy. Thank you as always for your support. You guys rock. See you later.